makes you wonder, like, how did they all know? And all three of them had information or knowledge that I'm baffled by in the Nancy Guthrie case. Like, okay, let's get back into this whole connection to connection. We were on the right track. And I thought, where do we go from here? And then we've gotten off track a little bit. I want to go back and get on the track. So, what do I mean by that? I mean the truth train track. And when we're seeing connections, they can't all be wrong. They're real connections. They're really there. So, Derek Kalila, also known as the Secret Mutilator, contacted Tommaso, who's known as the Secret Manifester, a.k.a. Annie's husband, a.k.a. Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law. So he contacted Derek Kalila, Secret Mutilator, contacted him and Annie separately on their own devices. And they were like, he said, did you get the 12 Bitcoin? We're waiting on our end. It's almost like he used the wrong phone, like he was supposed to be going through a burner phone or something. And he had a burner phone. What would have been the point? He hadn't relayed any information previously that's ever been mentioned that said, send the money here. So even prompting someone to pay it doesn't benefit you. There's something to be said here, but how did he know? How did he know on the 3rd? So we got the press conference on the 3rd. Or 3rd day, I should say. 3rd day. February 3rd. So it would have been 3rd day. We got the press conference later in the afternoon, but Derek had already contacted him. I'm like, how did he even know that there was any ransom at all at that point? We had no ransom letter. That's a big, how did he know? How did he know Annie's personal cell number? How did he know Tommaso's personal cell number? And then he called them and didn't even talk. How was he going to gain anything from a phone call saying, are you good on your end? We're waiting over here. Like, we're waiting for what? What? Okay. That's strange. But then, what's even stranger, and I'm not saying any of these people are guilty, I'm just saying, how did they know? There were people that knew shit before they should have, before anybody else. Cameron, the brother of Savannah, Nancy Guthrie's son. Before there's a ransom note, he already is telling Savannah that this is her fault. That somebody has kidnapped their mother for ransom. Yet there wasn't a ransom yet. How did he know? Luke Daly and his mother both are questioned in interviews. And they were asked individually at separate times in separate interviews. When you first, like the mothers at home, and there's a SWAT that just pops in her house, they're like, well, what did you think was happening? She's like, oh, I knew. I assumed that it was a Nancy Guthrie case. How would you know that? What on God's green earth would make you think that? Your son is a criminal, has a past, criminal history, I believe, full of felonies. And you don't think it could be like something your son did or one of your kids did or something, or they had the wrong house, or just, I had no idea. It was a complete surprise. No, that wasn't the answer. The answer was, I just thought it was related to Nancy Guthrie. And then you go over to, and how does she know that? How did she know that before they even told her, like when they were arriving and oh, it's about Nancy Guthrie, I don't have her. I don't get that. They asked Luke Daly, What were your first thoughts when you were being pulled over? He's like, that it was about Nancy Guthrie? What? You're getting pulled over in a car in the evening, not even in your neck of the woods, not even near Nancy Guthrie's house, at a Culver's restaurant, but right away your first thought is, well, this is about that missing 84-year-old woman that they're pulling me over for. It's not because I was doing something illegal or they have a warrant for my arrest or I missed a court date. Nope, it's about Nancy Guthrie. So how did Derek Kalila, Luke Daly, and his mom, and I have to be fair, I have to add in Cameron, how did they all know? So I'm going back to where the connections actually are there. Not gonna go off this for a while. Now the question is, when Derek Kalila contacted Annie and Tommaso, is it possible that he accidentally called the wrong phones? Like maybe he thought he was calling the burner phones, but he called their direct personal cell numbers. I don't know. What do you think? I just want to talk about this, and I want to review some of the thoughts about this entire case. And this is just boggling my mind. How did they all know things that they should have never known? Will we ever know? Welcome to 1111 True Crime. Mama D coming at you in the house. We have a live audience, also live chat. So hello to everyone. We've got Carla Burgeon, Seeking Justice, Jennifer Swain, Ziona Pride, J.G. George, thank you for returning. Nikki UK, good to see you fine folks, and everybody else. Hi, Seeking Justice. Hey, Linda Beatty, Michelle Dry, welcome all in. And also, not only do we have our beautiful live audience right now, but we will have a beautiful replay crew. You guys are all amazing. I want to thank our private eyes. You guys have been sending me some good questions on the Nancy Guthrie case. And that is, how do all these people know this? Why would you believe that you are being pulled over because of Nancy Guthrie if you were Luke Daly? What made him think that first? I don't know, you guys. I think we need to talk about this. Now, I don't have a lot to show you today. As you can see, I got our little thumbnail here, Devil Inside. And to me, this is an inside job. Everything points to inside job. Why? Because, all right, I'm pushing my keyboard away. I'm going to get my lotion out. Self-sponsoring. I got the Jersey Girls lotion. All organic cow's milk and chemical-free, of course, because it's organic and natural. And you can check it out at my shop, 1111dex.com. Now, I want to talk about this. When I've worked other cases, such as the Idaho 4 case. Now, that was a case where in the middle of the night, 4 college students were slaughtered. And I mean brutally, with a sharp-edged weapon. And immediately, I began a list of why this person wasn't a stranger. Now, you may be like, well, Brian was a stranger, so you were wrong. I don't believe Brian did it, so I don't think I was wrong. I think that Brian's family was threatened, and I think that he basically just said, well, I'm just going to, you know, if he didn't do it, the killer was still out there. And what if the killer got to Brian and said, you know, if you don't cop to this, then your family's in danger. I don't know. But regardless, one of the things about the case was it a complete stranger? Just somebody that was sick, that was out for a thrill kill? Did they bring a kill kit and be like, whoever is in this house, this is their last night? Or, as I believe, was it an inside job? And it's the same with the Nancy Guthrie case. We have the exact same scenario where it happens in the middle of the night and the big question arises, is this somebody that just was on a thrill kill and decided that this, whoever is in this house is the one that's, is the one? Or is this an inside job? And in both scenarios, the same questions would come up. So you would take the side A of unknown, total stranger, to inside job. Now you might think of the inside job as a family member. You might be thinking the inside job as somebody that worked for Nancy. An inside job could be somebody that consistently showed up all the time at her house for a delivery. I don't know who this inside job person is, but to me, they had direct inside knowledge of Nancy's home. Here's why. If it's a stranger and they're picking a random home, they would have to know some things. One, that there's not an alarm system. Okay? Like you go to touch the door and you open it, the screen door, and all of a sudden, whoop, boop, boop, boop. Or worse yet, a silent alarm that is whoop, whoop, whooping off at the security alarm system place, and all of a sudden you don't even know that you've triggered the alarm and all the SWATs are there. But Porch guy ain't worried, is he? He's like, I got all the time in the world to do this. Wonder if I should, how should I get this Nest Cam off anyway? Maybe I'll just, over there's some flowers. Yeah, let's go get these flowers and pop that off. He wasn't in a hurry. He wasn't blinking. He was like deer in headlights the whole time. He didn't even do shifty eye. In a way, they would have to know that there's not someone else staying in the guest house that night, because they've come in through the back gate, which, that connects to the guest house with the sliding glass doors. So they blocked that gate open. Someone has. And there's activity because allegedly he entered through the back. Flower pots blocking those open. So then how do we know that the guest isn't going to catch him in the act and then they've got another person to deal with? Or, worst scenario, how does he know that there's not a guest there with a dog, like a pit bull or a German shepherd, some attack dog, a Rottweiler, that's going to be like, and eat him for breakfast? How does he know that Nancy doesn't have a pew-pew? 84-year-old woman? Don't even go there, folks. In the 1970s, my best friend's, well, we call her grandma, but she would have been in her 50s at that time. No, she would have been in her 40s. She had a pew-pew in her bedroom. An assailant named Johnny Black came into her bedroom and she shot him in the foot while calling 911. So this person knew Nancy didn't have mace, didn't have a weapon that she would be like, I might be old, but my knife worked when you came over my bed. I mean, you're leaning over the person, as Savannah says, leaning over my mother in her bed. How did he know she didn't have a knife? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, one thing that would happen if you leaned over my bed is you'd hear this clicking sound, and I'd say, you need to step back or I'm going to blow your balls off. Okay? So you might want to step back. This person didn't have to worry about any of that. But how did they know? There has to be, in my humble opinion, an insider that is at least setting this all up, giving the information, designing this so that it's an easy access, that all security questions are covered. Think about other things that could happen. Oh, I don't know, cameras in the house that could catch you. How did the person know that Nancy didn't have security cameras all inside her house that didn't alert family members and so forth? She's elderly. How do you know if she's fallen and can't get up? You might have security cameras inside the house. So this perpetrator knew that there was no security cameras inside Nancy's house that they had to worry about. How did the perpetrator know there wasn't a guest staying there? How did the perpetrator know that Nancy didn't have some sort of a big dog, or that the guests didn't have a big dog? How did the perpetrator know that no alarms were going to go off anywhere else if they entered Nancy's home? How did they know all of that? Unless they had the answers from an inside system, an inside thing. So it's too much to assume that this person's like, I'm going to break into a random home. Maybe not. Maybe they watched Nancy for a week. Does that tell you if they've got cameras in the home? Does that tell you if Nancy's going to have a guest that night that maybe she hadn't had in a year and they just happened to swing by? And no, it's like they knew all the answers, that it was going to be an easy in and an easy out. There wasn't going to be a struggle major or anything like that. That Nancy wasn't even going to scream. How do they know that she isn't going to scream and set off other things in motion, like when they go outside the house, scream? It's almost like she couldn't be conscious. So I wanted to bring some of this up because it would lead me logically to go down the rabbit hole that somebody is feeding this perpetrator information. And I was like, okay, well, the only reason an insider would be feeding information is if they hired them for a hit. And if they hired them for a hit, is that the moment where it's really going to be a backstab and leave this assailant holding the body? So it's really, you tell the perpetrator, hey, you're going to get a payout. We're going to give you a payout to kidnap my mother. Just kidnap her. And then turn around and say, you're going to get all this money. My sister's rich, or this woman's daughter is rich. You're going to get a big payout, all this. But really, you're over here making plan B, which is once they've got the mother or Miss Nancy out of the picture, out of the house, leave them hanging high and dry and betray them. So that would fit if we were thinking of Kalila, the secret mutilator, who sounds like somebody that could be hired for a really disgusting job, right? Sounds like that. And he called Mojito, DJ Mojito is the residential DJ at Club Congress that Tommaso's going to see all the time. Is calling Derek Kalila dad. And it's not his dad, but that's what's calling him. And Derek Kalila is contacting Tommaso. See, you have this little triangle, right? And I'm not doing the Illuminati sign. I'm saying you have a three-way connection. You have Tommaso up here. You over here, you got DJ Mojito. These two cross their paths all the time. You got Secret Mutilator, Derek Kalila, talking to Tommaso and Annie on their private cells, right? Leaving a message and sending texts. But also, DJ Mojito and the Secret Mutilator are like this. All right? You got the Secret Mutilator with Derek Kalila, and you got the Secret Manifester with Tommaso. Something is here. And I can't be like, there's nothing here. There's something there. So Did he leave it? Was this a plan, the perfect plan? Because you get the bad guys, make them promises, and they think the goal is to kidnap this person and get the payout and then release the person, and they're all good with that. And you find out this person's real plan is you ain't never going to get paid. You're stuck with the person. You're stuck with whoever you abducted. And you can't keep them alive because you don't have the tools to keep them alive. That wasn't the plan. So when I think about all the things Annie said, scorched earth, scorched. DJ Mojito is the sponsor of Scorched Earth. Or not Scorched Earth, Scorched. That's the big thing. The thing that happened the weekend that Nancy is taken. Scorched. In her hometown. It's the big thing for Dr. Mojito. Or DJ Mojito. Blowing on embers of hope. Embers. So you got scorched earth. We're walking on scorched earth. Blowing on the embers of hope. Our love burns for you, Mom. Standing on ashes. Why don't you just write a confession? We actually didn't want to care for our mother anymore. It was all our responsibility. Nobody was helping us. So we had her abducted and then told them, you might as well cremate her because you're not getting paid. Does that sound good? Now let's burn this note. Psh. You feel me? Like, there's more to this. And the other thing is, not only would you not know if there's security cams and dogs and people and alarm systems and pews, but you really honestly know where every camera is located. How did you get to learn where every single camera was located? How did you know there was no subscription? This just isn't working for me, you guys. These people are in the know. Luke Daly knew the reason he was pulled over at Culver's in the middle of Tucson was Nancy Guthrie. He knew it. He said so. His mother, other side of town, at her own little house, just 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house, doing her dishes probably, right? Here's SWAT break a window or bust open the door. SWAT, freeze, nobody move, we have a warrant. Oh shit, they're here because of Nancy Guthrie. How did you know that? Derek Kalila. You know what? I think I'm just going to call over there. We're ready on our end. Yeah, you got the money? What a prank. We knew it wasn't a prank. But yet, why make that comment? We're ready on our end. You think that Derek Kalila just out of the blue woke up that day and was like, I'm going to call up and harass. You know what? I'll text first Annie Guthrie. I've got to somehow get her number. And yeah, I'm going to text Tommaso too. I'll text them same thing. And I'll just ask them, did you get the 12 Bitcoin? We're ready on our end. That's going to be such a funny thing to do. I think that's what I'll do. You don't think that there was something that Derek Kalila was following up on? I mean, I've heard of Psycho, but you'd have to be absolutely beyond self-hating to contact a family where you know that the feds are going to be involved or are involved in the missing persons case and fake anything with family members. You're guaranteed to be caught. Unless you thought you were calling and texting their burner phones. And you didn't think that they would throw you under the bus. But if your real goal was to just be done with the responsibility, she could have passed away in her sleep. Right? Like you could have been like, Mom, have another bowl of our homemade soup. And then she passes away in her bed and you're like, whoop, no more responsibility. But that would involve you directly with her. So there has to be a go-between to protect you from ever any suspicion. And so that's where you may be like, hey, yeah, I see you in the club all the time. Secret mutilator. Are you into really kinky stuff? Ah, you're into scorched? Are you part of like the Satanist pact and all that? Oh, you're good with, oh yeah, I know DJ Mojito. Yeah. So you're in all that dark, creepy crap, all the fetishes and everything. So we kind of have a pact going on here. Hey, $6 million sounds good, doesn't it? Wouldn't that be cool for you to get like $3 million? I may have a way to help you. You know what I'm saying? That could have easily happened. But they act like, well, he's got another court case now in June, you know, the 6th month, on the 23rd. Why delayed? What was the holdup? Why not get on with the program? Something ain't right here. You're right, OMG. Carolyn Miller, hello, lovely. Many adopted children suffer complexes of insecurity, not being wanted, in your opinion. Beth says, only if Nanos is off the case will it be solved. He was threatened or promised something nice if he diverted eyes away from Tomato and Crazy Annie, in your opinion. That to me is the key. In my humble opinion. Is it true LD brother shot himself and did he die? Who is LD? LD brother married living. I don't know who LD is. Sorry, Michelle. Luke Daly's brother married living in. Okay, Luke Daly. Is it true Lake shot himself and did he die? I don't know. Right, Carla, Luciferians. Luke. How interesting. I'd like her to come home, but on the other hand, what the F? On the other hand, no, Luke. Right, seeking, good point. Snacker, never heard anything about it? Let me find Snacker. See Pirano painting? Tommy put in her dinner and she was taken out on a dolly. She woke up at the threshold, coughed up blood. Could be, lovely, could be. Will we ever find the truth? I think we will. That's Luke's adopted mother? That's interesting. Shayla, mini Mason codes, pizza delivery, yellow roses. Right. Ritual thinking out loud. Yeah. The movie plot wouldn't be believable. That's true. Beth, I think the plan all along was to off Nancy. I agree. Get rid of the old lady when life would be real sweet for some people. Snacker says very dark people involved. Beth says that was one real dark bunch. They seem to love evil. I thought he went to Italy. I'm not sure if he went to where he went exactly. Very well orchestrated job. They thought of everything. Could the perfect crime because Nano refuses to talk about Tomato and the wife. Maybe she did scream, and why the neighbor's dogs barked. Like the Ramsey case, friend of the housekeeper makes the intruder, in your opinion. Interesting. You think the blood was planted? Savannah may know, but can't face the truth. Snacker, it was right after Luke Daly and Mom had interview. What was? I'm not sure. I don't know if his brother really did that or not. But, so, why did Luke Daly get a new car? His was smashed up? What about, it was going off. Was it totaled? He got a new car, which they searched and they held for a while, which to me, I don't see why, because that car was week after Nancy had been captured. But it almost makes me wonder if the other vehicle had been used in the capture and abduction of Nancy, and then they crashed it on purpose so that they could send it off with the insurance and say that they had an accident, have it totaled, so it's involved in its own investigation, an accident, right? And therefore it's out of sight, out of mind. As far as I'm aware, the FBI never grabbed Luke Daly's car that he was driving when Nancy went missing. Not that he put her in that car, but it sure would be wonderful to find out if Nancy's DNA was in that crashed up car that Luke would have been using when Nancy was abducted. It just, like, how perfect that car got a call and towed away as soon as any YouTuber saw it in Luke Daly's yard. You see, it's so weird. You think the blood loss was genuine? Bingo, says Linda Beatty. Mystery Diva, welcome back on Nancy's memorial. Annie left the card saying, "We're standing on ash, on scorched ground." Who writes that to their mother? Is this an Illuminati sacrifice hidden in plain sight? I mean, if you want me to put a tinfoil hat on, I'll go make one. I don't care if I wear it or don't. It's a valid question. Was this a sacrifice of some sort? This has just gotten so strange. And I'm everybody in the beginning was like, is Nano's in on this? And I was like, no, he would never go in there and capture her and do all this stupid stuff. But he's so emotional when it comes to the Guthrie family. Crying on camera. I've never seen a sheriff cry. If you're that emotionally attached to the outcome, then you're biased and you're blinded. And you should no longer be heading up anything and leading nothing. If you're so emotionally invested in Tucson being the proud home of Savannah Guthrie being tarnished by what a true investigative means may reveal, then you might be a biased sheriff. You feel me? If you're boo-hooing and being like, they're the most wonderful family in the whole world, and you're the investigator into the case, and you're like, they're clear, and now on the next interview, you're like, well, no one's clear. And now we're finding out that you're a liar, that you were fired previously, or whatever. You were like, you either got to be fired or you just quit because you ain't going to be working for us, for law enforcement. And then you hide all that shit so that you can become sheriff. You're a swindle. You're not somebody that's going to be doing a proper job if you're attached to the outcome. If you already have decided who it is not, and they happen to be the real perp, you've made the case unsolvable. If you've already decided this person is not guilty, they will not be found out to be guilty, I assure you. They're clear, and you don't know who did it, You still have a very good chance of being wrong. And how the hell are you going to look when you get put on the stand and you're the sheriff and the jury's sitting there because your perp got found to be charged with something and now you're at trial and you've got to say that all those tears and how wonderful the family is and how clear they are, you might be getting that killer off the hook. So that's a shitty thing to do if you're a sheriff. As a sheriff, you should not be emotionally attached to any outcome. You should be unbiased. And you're probably going to be more suspicious of the family than anybody else if she's 84 years old. Because face it, who in the fudge at Christmas benefits from an 84-year-old woman getting taken out of the house? And if this is a stranger, how did they know she didn't have a self-defense item in the bed like pepper spray, mace, a pew-pew, a knife? How did this stranger know she didn't have a large dog to protect her, a guest in the guest house, security cams, security alarms, inside cameras inside the home? But this perp knew all of that. So they ain't no stranger, baby. They ain't no stranger, in my opinion. They're from someone that knows that house, that knows this situation. Whether they have ever been in that house, I don't know. But they got all the details checked. Everything has been given to them in some way. And let's face it, if you're the hired perp, and it's been 3 or 4 days, you're going to be getting real anxious if she's 84 years old and ain't got no medication, and that wasn't the deal. The deal was I would already have my money. The deal was I wouldn't be babysitting your mama. Okay? Your mama ain't doing so good. You're not answering me. You're not picking up the burner phone. I'm starting to get freaking worried here that you set me up and that this is going to land in my lap and I'm going to be left holding on to your mama. Well, I'm just going to call your regular phone. Fuck the burner phone. Sorry, guys. Let's see. I'll text them. Did you get the money? We're ready on our end. Right? Getting impatient, like, we're starting to sense that, you weren't really wanting your mama back. You know, you sent us to kidnap her, but, you're not paying, nobody wanting their mama back. Hey, she ain't looking so good over here. We don't even know what to give her for food. I mean, she went to bed without her teeth. What are we supposed to feed her, baby food? Come on, help us. So with all this inside knowledge of Nancy's position, including that they weren't going to get away with her on foot, that they were going to have to do something. They knew that. They even knew that this old lady wasn't able to make it that far because they made it out to the end of the driveway and they were like, yeah, she didn't make it any further. And they had some way to get her out of there. But when you go look at Luke Daly's crashed up old car, who investigated that? How perfect. If Luke Daly was really the suspect, then they, meaning law enforcement, used a warrant on the wrong damn car. Because that little Range Rover has nothing to do with shit when it didn't get bought for another week after the crime. No. Use your, I don't know, fake Bureau of Investigation shit to go look at the real car that Luke Daly would have driven that just, like Secret Mutilator, just kind of wandered out of here, disappeared into the night, right? And find out where that car got towed. And why did it get towed when it had just got noticed by the YouTubers? It was like gone, right? It was there one day. We were all like, oh, Luke Daly has a car. The next day, it was being towed. We were like, who towed it? The FBI? No, Luke Daly made that clear. He made the call to the insurance company and got that son of a bitch out of there. Probably because he was afraid that even the FBI would be like, wait a minute, wouldn't that be the car that Luke Daly was driving before he got his new car? Well, if Nancy was his victim, that's why we raided the place, is we considered him a suspect, why not get another warrant and get that car and check it to see if maybe that had Nancy's blood in it? Could be, huh? Unless FBI ain't in charge. Unless it's Sheriff Bananos that's in charge, which more than likely. He wouldn't want that, because then if you get the bad guy that maybe got hired for it, he may be like, well, I'm ready to spill the beans on who hired me. And then we're back onto that circle jerk where I can't, defame Tucson by deflowering that yellow rose off of Tucson and be like, well, yeah, Tucson, home of Savannah Guthrie, whose family kidnapped her mom and drug us into the Satanistic pit of hell using and hiring somebody that's called Secret Mutilator. No, we can't have that. So it leaves us all watching this investigation where we're like, okay, what if it is inside? What if it's an inside job? This can't be solved then? Because of cognate distancing, whether it's, hey, you want another Ferrari? Then I suggest you make this not about my sister and my brother-in-law. Just saying, could have happened. Deborah Lewis says, in my opinion, the perp on the porch was a female, and I think it was A. Did Senator Mark Kelly have a word with Nanos? See, that's what I think. Why would you not call your local sheriff directly? Why would you call a friend that's a senator to go talk to the sheriff for you? Savannah called Kelly immediately, and then he showed up with cookies for the sheriff's staff. Highly irregular. Cookies. I bet he had cookies. Nikki K says, love mama when she gets driven. Such passion in the cases. Well, you know how I feel. Lady Shore says A&T in D.C. and sheriff somehow being paid off or some type of knowledge along with fired friend hired. It can be solved. All need to uncleared now, as well as FBI needs all by proof. So I wanted to bring this up. Okay, hold on. And then this is the last thing I'm going to say with you. See, here's why I think it was an actual backfire on the hired people. Because let's just pretend for a minute that it was a for hire thing. Sorry, I'm hanging out. I gotta clip it now. Let's pretend that this was, just for a minute, hypothetically, theory, throwing spaghetti at the wall. This is a hire deal by Annie and Tommaso. Pretend. So they hired this little team, right? We are waiting on our end. We. All right, so you've got Derek Kalila and whoever else, maybe the Luke Daly guy, right? Now, they're going to get the goal that they think, the hired people are like, ooh, yeah, we're going to get part of the payout, part of the ransom. But what would Annie and Tommaso be gaining? They would have to pretend that they wanted part of the ransom too, or the perpetrators will be like, so you just want rid of her? How do we know you're not going to leave us stuck with her? How do we know you'll follow through? See, that brings up suspicion. So no, you both got to be in it for the money, right? But what would Annie and Tommaso do? So let's pretend that the payout happened. Let's pretend the perps got away with it and they got their $3 million. It would leave the other $3 million for Tommaso and Annie. Well, wouldn't that be pretty suspicious if all of a sudden Savannah Guthrie pays out $6 million and Annie and Tommaso have a $3 million in their account? Or producing stuff even within a few years, that is way out of their price range? Like, oh, I don't know, a house in another country? Wouldn't Savannah go, well, where the hell did you get all that money? Isn't that weird? I just gave up that money and now Annie and Tommaso. So it was never Annie and Tommaso weren't going to get the money. They were playing a game, and they got their little perps allegedly in this theory. And they were like, hey, you want to make $3 million, split it even with us? You do the work, you capture her. We'll be on our end making sure it gets paid. Savannah, it's our mom, please pay. You'll get your money, we'll get ours, and our mom will be fine. She'll never know who was involved. Meanwhile, it really happens. The perps are like, we got her, now what? And they're like, don't answer it. Don't answer it. Ignore it. Ignore it. Turn it into the cops. Cops will think it's them. So what if they talk? We have nothing to do with it. Our burner phones have been gone for a week. There's no way they can track these perps back to us, and they're just crazy perps. You know what I'm saying? Like, the whole goal would be to backstab the hired help, too. And get away with the whole thing, which is the responsibility of it all, but on somebody else's guilty ticket. Somebody else is going to be held responsible. And face it, if you were so sadistic that you would plan such an event, you would have to think that the universe was smiling down on you with a grade of approval when you have a sheriff as stupid and as an idiot as Nana's Bananas, because he ain't never gonna solve it, right? He ain't never gonna solve the case. I don't know. Forgive me. Sorry. Mystery Diva says Derek Kalila is allegedly connected to Tommaso. Derek had their numbers and texted Tommaso and Annie. Did you get the Bitcoin? We're waiting on our end. Can't make it up. Gotta be me. Hello, lovely. You said, I have had thoughts all along since we saw the first video that, yes, this could be a woman because it determined on another channel by certain ways to measure. The shoe size was probably 7 or 8. Interesting. He spilled paint. None of it makes sense. It's so frustrating. I agree. God bless poor Nancy. And I agree with that. So you guys, that's all I have to say. I just had to get it out of my... You know, I'm not going to give up on this connection because it's real. Derek Kalila actually is connected to Dr. Mahito, or DJ Mahito. DJ Mahito is the residential DJ at Club Congress. I have absolutely proved that him and Tommaso both performed at Club Congress during the same week in this past year, not even a year ago. Proved it. Derek Kalila is or DJ Mahito is calling Derek Kalila Dad. This is the dude he's calling Dad is the one contacting Tommaso and Annie. And why? Did he just wake up one day and go, oh, this is going to be a hoot. I'm just going to randomly connect to these poor people and ask them if they got the money for their mom, and we're waiting on our end. But since it's just a gag, there's no real way for them to pay me or anything, so it'll just be funny. No. This is a follow-up. This is a follow-up because you've dropped my call. You've dropped me. You're not responding. So I'm choosing a different way to communicate with you. I'm pulling a Hail Mary. I'm going to call you real damn phone. Because we're sitting over here with your mom. That's my opinion. All right? Paid not to solve. That's how I feel Barney Fife is. Yeah, Barney Fife. Paid to ignore it. Aw, Mystery Diva. I think you genius, lovely. Nancy needed a bodyguard. For real. Lady Shore says also questions. Were 2 people outside dressed in a mask at all? Either way, has AG eyes and perfect for a gum. gun with that position for a woman. Wow. So you guys, I want to know if it was an inside job. I'm going to pull some cards. If that is not your thing, no worries. I love you all the same. And I appreciate your time with me. And I love you to the moon and back. Now, if you are going to continue on with me, there'll be a little thumbnail that you can just click and it'll take you over into our next live where I'm going to pull the cards. And then after that, we're going to have our third live for the diehards that are really into this case and want to ask the questions, the hard questions in the Nancy Guthrie case, and we'll reveal the answers. All right, my lovelies, so 2 more lives to go. And I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for the A+ that you guys are giving me on YouTube, because you're making all my, like, YouTube gives us green stars, if you will. And they give it to us for all different kinds of things. All mine are green because of you. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Just warms my heart. And it inspires me to keep going on all these missing victim cases. And it's heartbreaking that this could have happened to an 84-year-old woman. And what's scary is in 93% of all cases, it's someone that they know, that the victim knows intimately, in their intimate circle. That's horrifying, but it's true. I love you, my darlings. Say a prayer for Nancy Guthrie, and I will see you again next time. Thank you so very much.
From the dust I was born, to the dirt I shall return. When my eyes are closed, in the shadows, my enemies will think they won, but I am here to stay. Destiny will overcome. No, I am not afraid. Like a phoenix in the night, my soul will rise from the darkness to